Brightline's arrival in Aventura was supposed to be a game changer. When the Aventura Station opened in late 2022, it was billed as a major step forward for regional transit. Positioned just steps away from the massive Aventura Mall, the setup seemed perfect, on paper. Now, after long delays and growing public pressure, that problem is finally getting solved. An official announcement just dropped, and it could change everything. So what's the update? We've got the answers, and they're rolling in on today's episode of Great Trainspeed. Aventura Station is one of the newest stops on the Brightline route, and honestly, it couldn't be in a better spot. It's right across the street from Aventura Mall, one of the busiest shopping spots in all of South Florida. The station was built to give folks in the suburbs an easy way to hop on a train and head to Miami, Fort Lauderdale, or even Orlando without sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic. The vibe is clean, modern, and super convenient. Whether you're commuting or just headed out for the weekend, Aventura Station is quickly becoming the go-to rail hub in the area, which might be the first purpose of Brightline when they built this station. But for many Brightline riders, the experience at Aventura Station has become a study in frustration, a disconnect between sleek marketing and everyday usability. Time and again, passengers say the station's location just doesn't make sense. "I took the train specifically to avoid using Uber," one rider noted, "but when I got there, I still had to pay for a 3-minute ride just to cross the street to the mall." The station sits tantalizingly close to Aventura Mall, right across Biscayne Boulevard. Yet actually reaching it can feel like a minor expedition. Several users are baffled by the lack of safe, direct pedestrian access. A pedestrian bridge is supposedly in the works, but for now, there's no easy way to walk from the station to the mall. Worse yet, one visitor pointed out that the bridge being planned might only be available to Brightline ticket holders, preventing non-riders from even using it to cross the street. "Where is the government on this?" they asked, echoing broader concerns about public oversight and urban planning. Others were less patient in their reviews. One passenger recounted a disastrous experience with Brightline's now discontinued mall shuttle. After waiting 40 minutes for a pickup that never came, they were left scrambling for a lift and missed their train. "If you're offering a courtesy shuttle," they wrote, "then at least have a direct phone number to the station in case it doesn't show up. We were stranded." Some critiques get more pointed, calling the station itself tragic in both design and location. Critics argue that it doesn't even feel like it's in Aventura at all. Technically, the tracks mark the city's edge, and for those without a car, that boundary may as well be a wall. "At minimum," one user insisted, "a bypass bridge should have been built over US 1. These voices highlight the core problem. The Aventura Station may be modern, but for too many riders, it's missing the basics. A quick trip to the mall shouldn't come with so many detours, and that is not the only problem when you are a customer at this station. But there's another big issue, and surprisingly, it doesn't come from the station itself. It comes from Aventura Mall. What could a shopping mall possibly have to do with a train station? We'll break it down in the next part. But before that, hit subscribe so you don't miss more stories from the world of trains. US Highway 1, also known as Biscayne Boulevard, cuts between the station and the mall, creating a major barrier to pedestrian access. So when Brightline unveiled the station over 2 years ago, expectations were sky high. Miami-Dade County had invested a staggering $76 million, and the vision was clear. Passengers would step off the train and easily walk across Biscayne Boulevard to reach Aventura Mall, one of the most visited shopping destinations in the country. Despite early promises and a projected finish by last Thanksgiving, the pedestrian bridge linking Brightline's Aventura Station to the mall still isn't there. In the meantime, things have only gotten worse for passengers. Brightline once ran a free shuttle to ease the gap, but that ended last year. Now riders face a 25-minute walk along busy roads or have to call a rideshare, just to reach a mall they can literally see from the station window. Premium passengers get a $10 Uber voucher, but regular riders are left footing the bill or the sidewalk. Compounding frustration over the delay, parts of the bridge structure, specifically some aerial components, have been sitting unused in a nearby parking lot for over 5 months. Commissioner Eileen Higgins expressed her concern. So we've got a $20 million bridge sitting in a parking lot rather than under construction. According to Brightline spokesperson, the project is just so complicated. Big projects like this take a lot of teamwork, she explained, pointing to all the players involved. Turnberry, the mall's owner, local agencies, and the Florida DOT. She added that the good news is everything's finally in place. The bridge structure is already there, just waiting to be installed. Everyone's on board with making it easier to walk to Aventura Mall, she said. This bridge is how we're going to make that happen. And, surprisingly, what she said turned out to be true. The long-awaited pedestrian bridge is finally becoming a reality. On July 23, 2025, the news broke.
Construction to start this summer or early fall and will take about 8 months to finish.
Pedestrian bridge that connects Aventura Mall to Brightline Station across the street coming soon. After years of delays, detours, and frustrated sighs from passengers staring across Biscayne Boulevard, the end of that long, inconvenient walk is finally in sight. The city of Aventura confirmed that Brightline has cleared every hurdle to start construction, and if you look closely, the pieces of the bridge are already sitting in the station's parking lot, ready to go. For commuters and shoppers alike, this isn't just about steel and concrete. It's about safety, comfort, and finally delivering on a promise made over 2 years ago. Even Aventura Mall joined in, calling the bridge a key step in improving access between the station and the mall. It's a small stretch of infrastructure, but a massive step forward in convenience. Local commuter Dos Santos summed it up perfectly. Having that alternative is an absolute game changer. After all, no one wants to dodge 6 lanes of traffic just to get to a mall. Brightline now expects construction to begin this summer or early fall, with an estimated completion time of around 8 months. And for many, it won't just be a bridge. They'll see it as a long overdue connection finally coming to life. But what about you? What do you think about this announcement? And do you believe this change will make a real difference? Let us know in the comments below. For Brightline riders, the long-promised pedestrian bridge at Aventura Station isn't just another infrastructure project. It's a long-overdue fix that strikes a nerve. Reactions online range from sheer relief to a bit of finally sarcasm, with one Reddit user posting a meme to celebrate the news. Others weren't so subtle. About freaking time, one writer said, recalling the shock of arriving at the station only to realize there was no direct way to reach the mall across the street. I had to get an Uber, and it took me almost 30 minutes to get across. Several passengers echoed frustration over misleading car rental pickups and confusing layouts that added unnecessary time and cost. But now that the bridge is officially on the way, the mood has shifted. One YouTube commenter called it a great asset for connecting commuters to downtown Miami and Fort Lauderdale, while another praised the move toward creating more walkable, transit-friendly neighborhoods. I'm genuinely so stoked about this, said one regular traveler, who noted how the bridge will make everyday trips to Aventura so much easier. Still, not all voices were focused on logistics. One commenter took aim at what they saw as over-the-top complaining from activists, saying the bridge is already in progress, and it's time to celebrate, not rant. Altogether, the message is clear. This bridge isn't just about crossing a street, it's about closing the gap between promise and reality. After years of delays and frustration, Brightline's big Aventura problem is finally getting solved. And with it, South Florida's sleekest rail line just became a lot more practical. Brightline now connects Orlando to Miami, offering a convenient way to travel across Florida. And soon, even more Floridians might be saying the same. Brightline is setting its sights west, toward new cities, faster journeys, and far fewer hours behind the wheel. Picture hopping on a sleek train and gliding across the state. No driving, no airport chaos. That future? It's not far off. Let's dive into it in today's episode of Great Train Speed. Brightline is changing the way people travel in Florida. Right now, the high-speed train runs between Orlando and Miami, with stops in places like Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, and Aventura. It's one of the first major private passenger rail projects in the U.S. in decades, And unlike some other attempts, this one is delivering fast trains, sleek stations, and no need to fight through highway traffic or deal with the hassle of flying. If you've ever sat on I-95 for 2 hours in bumper-to-bumper traffic, you know why this train is so important for this region. With Brightline, you can kick back in a spacious seat, grab a snack or drink, use the Wi-Fi, and get where you're going without stress. For a lot of riders, it's not just a novel. It's quickly becoming their go-to option. And the numbers prove it. In June 2025, more than 254,000 people rode Brightline. That's a 14% jump compared to the same time last year. Long-distance travel, like from Orlando to Miami, really took off, rising 18% year over year and hitting a new record of over 164,000 riders. Even shorter trips between cities like Miami and Fort Lauderdale were up 7%. But here's the big deal. 56% of the long-distance riders were repeat customers. That shows people aren't just giving it a shot once, they're coming back again and again. That kind of loyalty is huge. Revenue's going up too. In June alone, Brightline brought in $16.9 million, which is 11% more than last June. Most of that came from long-distance trips, where ticket sales jumped 14%. There was a small dip in short-distance revenue, but the overall trend is strong, and it shows people are choosing Brightline for longer, more meaningful trips. Maybe they're traveling for work, to visit family, or just to get a weekend away. Either way, the demand is real. To keep up with the growth, Brightline added more capacity. On June 9th, they put 5 more passenger coaches into service and brought back the full long-distance schedule. Now, those long-haul trains are running with 6 cars again, giving more room for passengers and avoiding overcrowding. And don't worry about delays. June's on-time performance hit 92%, which is pretty solid for any rail system. The Orlando to Miami route is quickly becoming a key way to get around Florida. Reliable, comfortable, and trusted by regular riders. If this keeps up, it might just set the standard for rail travel in other states. And here's the exciting part. Brightline's looking to expand west to Tampa. It's still in the works, but if the current success is any sign, people are ready for more high-speed rail in Florida. Let's dive into the next part to see how this project is coming along. But before we get into it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update from our world of trains. As of July 18th, 2025, Brightline has announced that it's looking to raise $400 million to help expand its rail line west from Orlando to Tampa, a trip that could take just about an hour once everything's up and running. That's a big deal for anyone tired of the long, traffic-heavy drive between the two cities. After years of delays and changes, the plan to connect Tampa to the rest of Brightline's Florida network finally seems to be moving forward. This western expansion is part of a much bigger 320-mile route that would eventually stretch all the way from Miami to Tampa. Trains are expected to hit speeds over 150 miles per hour, which would make it the fastest passenger rail service in the state. Along the way, Brightline is planning new or improved stations in places like Aventura, Fort Lauderdale, Boca Raton, West Palm Beach, and Orlando. And eventually Tampa, where considered the final stop, could be in Ybor City, though nothing has been confirmed yet. Brightline expects up to 650,000 people per month could be riding its Florida trains by 2026. That number could get a boost once Tampa is fully connected, especially with so many residents and tourists looking for an easier way to get to major attractions like Disney, Universal, and the beaches. Company officials say Tampa could benefit the most from this expansion, giving locals and visitors a smoother way to travel around the state without the stress of driving. And if the $400 million in bond funding gets approved, the money would go toward building new tracks, upgrading current ones, and improving or adding stations, including the future Tampa stop. It's all part of making the route fast, safe, and ready for more riders. Tampa's already on board. The city recently voted to let Brightline move ahead with the next step in its financing plan. That means the company can now keep working with the Florida Development Finance Corporation, FDFC, to secure private activity bonds. a big piece of the puzzle when it comes to funding this kind of project. The exact location of the Tampa station hasn't been locked in yet, but a recent survey of nearly 12,000 people showed strong support for either downtown Tampa or Ybor City. Many said they'd use the train to get to events or theme parks, and about 35% mentioned they'd take it straight to Disney. Clearly, people are ready for a faster and more convenient way to get around Florida. To keep things moving, on July 17th, the FDFC officially approved a loan that allows Brightline to move forward with the bonds. That money will help cover everything from planning and design to construction and improvements. It's another big step in making Tampa to Orlando high-speed rail a real option in the near future. With all this support, the route has drawn attention from both the government and the public. But here's the real question. Will that attention lead to long-term investment? What do you think? Is this project worth it? Drop a 1 if you agree it's important, or a 0 if you see it differently. We'd love to hear your thoughts. People across Florida, from local residents to city leaders, are saying the same thing. Traffic is getting worse, especially along I-4, and it's time for better travel options. With the state's population growing fast, many folks see Brightline's planned expansion as the answer. The train is fast, modern, and could offer a way to skip the stress of sitting in traffic for hours. At a recent public meeting, the Florida Development Finance Corporation got to hear directly from people who want this to happen. One of them, Brian Thorniley from Hillsborough County, spoke up. "I'm seeing the increase in traffic on I-4 and just in general in Florida, and I just wanted to say in public comment that I support the project. I've supported it since the beginning, in 2012, so I'd just like to ask that the bond issue be approved." If it moves forward, Brightline's expansion would follow parts of the I-4 corridor and bring service all the way to Tampa. That means more options for getting around, whether you're going to a theme park, visiting family, or commuting for work. The idea already has a lot of support. It's a perfect idea. It's got all the services and, it's very practical. "For sure I would use it," said a Brightline rider. Another passenger, visiting from West Palm Beach, added, "It's easy. No driving for 2 or 3 hours. Just take Brightline, sit, relax, eat, and get to your destination." Experts think the project could really benefit tourists too. Naveen Aluru, a transportation professor at the University of Central Florida, pointed out that visitors wouldn't even need a rental car. They could travel between Tampa and Miami all on Brightline. That's a very attractive market, he said. That said, ticket prices will still matter, especially for regular commuters. "If I'm a business traveler going to Tampa once a week, it might be worth it," Aluru added. But daily riders may be more price sensitive. Still, the project could make a real difference. Cutting down on traffic along I-4 and giving people more travel choices could improve life for a lot of Floridians. As Aluru put it, "I think having more options is always better." Brightline's expansion is picking up speed, and for Florida travelers, that means more cities, less traffic, and an easier way to get around. It's not just coming, it's almost here. That's it for today. Thanks for riding along with us on Great Train Speed. Hope you liked this episode. Catch you next time.